Good morning, students. Our today topic is reference variable and assignment, access specifiers, constructors. So firstly, we will learn about reference variable and assignment. In our previous class, we studied about how we can create a class in which we learn about field declaration and method declaration. After that, we learn about how we can create objects and how we can assess fields and methods inside the class and outside the class. This program is done in our previous class. So now you are able to create a class and use that class with help of objects. So now another topic is reference variable and assignment. Basically, our object name is known as reference variable. So when we declare variables and we can assign one variable value to another. So similarly, in objects and classes, we can also assign reference variables reference to another variable. So now we will see difference between reference in primitive type and reference type. When you assign a variable of a primitive type, means int, float, character, we know about primitive data types. To another variable, the variable on left receive a copy of the value of the variable on right side. So here, let us understand with help of an example. We have two variable a and b, a having value 5 and b having value 10. Diagram show before assignment, a hold value 5 and b hold value 10. Then we apply assignment, b equals to a having value 5, but we assigning value of a to b, so b also become 5. So now both b and a have same value 5, but both have different copies, we can say. So when we assign a variable of a primitive type to another variable, the left variable will receive a copy of right side variable. So here b have also value 5, a have also value 5, but both are storing at different locations. We can say a is using one copy, b is using another copy. So now let us see reference variable assignment. When you assign a reference variable to another variable, the reference of variable on right is assigned to variable on left. Both reference variable that refers to the same object. For example, we have two objects, two reference variables, myrect1, myrect2. So initially, myrect is pointing to one location having value L5, B6, myrect pointing to a location which have value L equals to 15, B equals to 10. But then we write myrect equals to myrect2 equals to myrect1. So now myrect2 will also refer to L5, B6. So in diagram here shown is, initially myrect is pointing to this one and myrect2 is pointing to this, two different, we can say two different copies. But when we implement this line, myrect2 equals to myrect1, so myrect pointing to this one. So here we are saying that myrect will point to location pointed by myrect1. So myrect1 is pointing to L equals to 5, B equals to 6. So that's why myrect2 also pointing to this. So both objects pointing to same location. So now it will not pointing to this one. So now our next topic is access modifiers in Java. We can use 4 types of access modifiers in Java: private, default, protected, and public. So now let us see difference between these one by one. First one is private. The access level of private modifier is only within the class. It cannot be accessed from the outside the class. It is simple that outsider cannot access functions and methods within the class. Only class members, we can say only class members can access it. We can also understand with the help of an example, like our personal car. So our car we can access only within family. No outsider can access it. So similarly in Java, private means class cannot be accessed from the outside. Then default, access level of a default modifier is only within the package. It cannot be accessed from the outside package. If you do not specify any access level, it will be default. No keyword is required. So in Java, by default, any class, any package will be private. So it cannot be accessed from the outside. Then protected. The access level of a protected modifier is within the package and outside the package through child class. If you do not make any child class, it cannot be accessed from the outside the package. So if we write a specifier protected, then it can be used inside, not outside, but only child. If we implement inheritance, then derived class can be used. These functions, these classes, it almost working like private, but some plus point is here, child classes can be used. But in private, no outsider can used, but in protected, child classes can be used. Then public, the access level of a public modifier is everywhere. It can be accessed from within the class, outside the class, within the package, outside the package. Public means it can be accessed from everywhere. Anyone can be accessed it. So when we want our class, our function cannot be accessed from the outside, we can use private. But when we want that it cannot be accessed from the outside, but child of this class can use it, then we can use protected access specifiers. And then there is no restrictions, we can use public access specifiers. And by default, it will be private. It works like private. This is all about access modifiers in Java. So now our next topic is passing arguments. In methods, we pass arguments. So in Java, arguments are always passed to the method using a mechanism known as pass by value. A method call can pass two types of value to a method using pass by value mechanism. In Java, when we pass our arguments values to the method, it is known as pass by value. And pass by value have two types values. First one, we can pass values of primitive types and then a reference type. We learn about assignment with the reference variable and primitive variables. So basic difference we can see, we see in our this topic, like a primitive type, there will be different copies, but in reference type, there will be same copy. So when two different people refer to same copy, if someone will change, it will be reflected. But if both are using different copies, then the changes will not reflected to the another. So now let us see how we can pass value primitive types and reference types. So firstly, we will see pass by value primitive types. When a variable of a primitive type is passed by value, a copy is made which is passed to the parameter. As we know in assignment, in passing value in which we use primitive type, a copy will be passed. Any modification made to the primitive type parameter in method body have no effect on the original arguments in the calling method. So when we pass a value, and if there is some modifications done in method body, the modification will not affect original arguments. So here is an example, but before discussing about example, I will show you the diagram. I already see it, but again I show you. So here, before assignment and after assignment, two different variables are using, we can say, referring, we can say, use or refer to different locations. So if we modify value of B, it will not affect the value of A. So now let us see how we can pass value of a primitive type with the help of an example. So here, firstly, we define a class primitive demo, which name is primitive demo. This is body of our class. So in this class, we create a method. We declare a method, we define a method. This is method body, and its return type is void. Increase is method name, and here we passing one parameter n. And in body of this method, value of n will be updated by 1000. And after that, we display on the screen increased number. So there is a second method. We are using main method because our class must contain main method in at least one class. So main method. So in main method, we declare a field num having value 10. So here we have a location, we can say, we're declaring num variable and which have value 10. Okay, so firstly we just display this value. Before increment, num will be 10. So on when it will be execute, it display info first message like before increment and num value 10. So then this will be called num increase num. So function. So here increase function is called, and our control goes to this function. So value of num will be passed, means 10 value is passed. So this 10 is assigned to n. So here we are using another variable n, which have value 10. Initially it have value 10. So in body, n equals to n plus 100. So now n is 10, it become 110. So now our value become 110. I'm writing it second location, so you can see. So now n is, so now n have value 10 1010. So it will print on the screen increased number. So here we can write plus n. I'm missing in the coding, you can write here n. So it will display on screen 110. So when control reaches to the end of the method body, then it will return to the next statement, that is system.out.println. So now it will print num on the screen. Here plus num is also missed, you can write, because for displaying number we have to use variable name. So now there are two different copies when we pass value. So if we modify, if we change on value, it will be reflected on copy only, original value will not affected. So our original value of num is 10 and it is also 10, and we pass it just as a copy. So modification is done on the copy, not on original values. So in primitive type, we can in this we pass variables of primitive types, and we have primitive types like bool, int, float, double, short, that we studied in data types, primitive data types. So variable of primitive type, when we pass, value will not reflected on original one. So our next topic is pass by value reference type. So here we will pass reference variables and value will be reflected back. So when you pass an object reference variable as an argument to the method, a copy of reference to original object is passed to the matching parameter of the method, not a copy of object itself. So when we pass a reference variable as an argument, reference is passed, not copy of object. Since reference stored in parameter is copy of reference that was passed as an argument. So parameter and argument refer to the same object in the memory. Any modification, so now both parameter and argument refer to the same object in the memory. So if we make any modification within called method, will be reflected back to the original object in calling method as well. So before understanding about example, firstly we can see diagram. Here reference variable rect1, we have reference variable rect1 refer to one object. My reference rect2 is another reference variable pointing to another object. But when we assign value, both reference variable are pointing to the same object. So here when we pass like my rect2, my rect1 to my rect2, it will be pointing to the same location. So now let us see example. Here we have one class test. So now we will working with our reference variables, objects we can say. So here will be two classes because we will create our objects in main method. So firstly we create a class test. So here I'm writing a constructor to initialize a value. Constructor must be same as class name, then there can be no return type. In body we can initialize value of any variable. You can skip this coding this time because we will study about constructors in our next topic. So this is our constructor. So how we can create a constructor in Java, we will see in our next topic. This, in this we writing our method like a void increase, and a parameter is passed here, and in body of this function we update it. I will tell you why we writing here text object reference object ref.num. So this class is ended and we create another class object demo in which we writing public static void main function, and here we create object of this class test. Obj is our object name and a new test object is created. So now we display just before increment value. So outside the class, if we want to access field, we have to write object dot field. So obj is our object dot num is field name. So now function call is similarly first, like we have to write object name dot function name. So that's why we are writing here obj, our object name, dot increase is our function name. And return type is void, so we are not assigning to any variable. So here now we will pass our reference variable. So obj is our reference variable, we can say our object name. So here we are passing object name, and value passed by a function. When we call a function, if we pass integer value, then we write type integer here, and then our parameter name, we can say p1 as per our requirement. So data type will be which type of variable we are passing. So here we will pass object reference. So that's why object reference is object reference of a test class. So that's why we are writing here test, and this is our object reference. We write here parameter name. So now object, firstly we have a object obj. This is pointing to the sum location where num equals to 10, because our class have only one field. So that's why I'm writing here only one field. So if you have another, we can write here. So initially we create an object of this, and when object will be created, constructor will be called, and num equals 10 will be initialized value of num. So now it is pointing to this. So we passing this as parameter. So another object reference, obj capital REF. So we passing reference means obj point refer to one object, and this will also reference is passed. So obj ref also pointing to this location. So now if we want to use update it, so now we can use this object name, object reference. So that's why we're writing here obj ref dot num, because we want to use field. So object name dot field name obj ref dot num, and plus means is equal to obj ref dot num plus 1000. So 1000 will be updated. So now 10 plus 10 become 110. So it will now hold value 110. So if obj ref will see this memory location, or if obj see this memory location, it will see 1010. So modification done on original copy, because both are referring to the same object in the memory. So when this method will be completed, control will goes at system.out.println, and after increment it have to display obj.num. So obj.num means this value will also displayed. So modification reflected here in case of reference type. So now our next topic is constructors. In Java, a constructor is a block of codes similar to method. It is just like a function. It is called when instance of class is created. At the time of calling constructor, memory for object is allocated in the memory. So when the object of our class is created, constructor is called by compiler. So second line, it is called when an instance of class is created, means object of class is created, then constructor is called. We can write a constructor in our coding, and if we are not writing, because we create many programs till now, and we are not just creating any constructor. So in that case, compiler call default constructor. This now what is the use of characters? It is a special type of method which is used to initialize the object. So if we want to initialize values, then we can use constructors. Every time an object is created using new keyword, at least one constructor is called. So our class can have number of objects. So when any object will be created, constructor will be called. It calls a default constructor if there is no constructor available in the class. So if we are not writing any constructor, it will call default constructor. In such case, Java compiler provide a default constructor by default. So here is just a note. It is called constructor. Why we call it constructor? Why its name is constructor? Because it constructs the value at time of object creation. Because it assign value at object creation. If it is not necessarily to write a constructor for a class, means if we skip constructor, if we not writing constructor in our class, it is because Java compiler create a default constructor. If we are not writing any constructor, then compiler create a default constructor. So there is some rules for creating Java constructor. Constructor name must be same as its class name. In which class we are going to write a constructor, the name of constructor and class will be same. There will be no return type. For example, our class is test and we want to write constructor. We cannot write it void test, int test, float test. So constructor must have no return type. So there will be no return type. So Java constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, and synchronized, right? We cannot write it as static text, test, final test. So these keywords cannot be used with the constructor. So then types of constructor. There will be two types of constructor, default constructor and parameterized constructor. So firstly, we will see about a default constructor. A constructor is called a default constructor when it does not have any parameter. So in which we not pass any parameter. This is known as default constructor because default values will be used. So syntax for constructor. So firstly, we will write our class name, then parentheses, and there will be no parameter. Because in default parameter constructor, there will be no parameter. So that's why these parentheses are empty. Then pair of curly braces, this define the body of constructor. So here we can write our initializations. So now let us understand about this this topic with help of an example. So here we have a class bike1. So this is the body of our class. So inside the class we want to create a constructor. So constructor name must be same, bike1, and in default constructor there will be no parameter. So that's why parentheses are empty. So this curly braces is the body of constructor. So we are writing here just a display message, bike is created. You can write here like if you want to initialize value like model number, you can use int model. If you want to by default use model number like 2020. So every time it will use this value when object is created. So here a printing message will be when any object, if we create one object, this message will be initialized bike is created. If we create two objects, then 2 times bike is created, one for first one and second for second object. So for each object it will be initialized. So in this class we are writing here public static void main because we can create our object in this class. So here we are just creating object of our class B object. So when this coding will be executed, so when this line will be executed means object is created. At a time of object creation, constructor will be called. So at this time constructor will called automatically. And in the body there here is a message to display like bike is created, it will be display on the screen. And after that it will come to the next statement. If there is any operation it will perform, and here is end of main method, so it will continue to the next line. So every time it will display bike is created. This is a simple example of a Java default constructor. When we learn about how to create a class, how to create object, we create a program to calculate area of rectangle. So now we will see how we can use default constructor in that program. So we have a class like, we create a class rectangle in which we have two fields, length and breadth. So we want to initialize value of these fields. So we can create a constructor. So constructor name must be same as our class name. So this is our constructor. Rectangle, then parentheses, and there is no parameter because it is default parameter, default constructor, and in default constructor, no parameter will be passed. So in body of constructor, we initialize value of length is 10, breadth is 20. So when this will be, when object will be created in our main method, this line will be executed. So length and breadth. Length equals to 10, breadth equals to 20. And we are creating object R. So R will point to the this location, this object. So when object is created, control will goes to this constructor. So value of length and breadth will be initialized. So now R is pointing to an object having value length having value 10 and breadth having value 20. So now next we call our area method. And result will be stored in result because it will return us integer value. So this function will be called, so inside the body value of length into breadth. So now length having value 10 and breadth having value 20. So it will be multiplied and stored result into A. So now A become 200. So return A means return 200. So this 200 will be returned to the result variable. So now result is containing 200 value. So after that we can use it. So in our when we create a classes, we create a method to initialize value. Set data method we are using to set the value of length and breadth, but here we can use constructor. And every time we will execute it, it will return us same result. For example, we create another object like a rectangle R1 because this is a default value. So if we want to value as per our requirement, there will be a second type, parameter constructors. So now we will study about parameter constructors. But before studying about what is the purpose of default constructor, to provide a default value. So for every object, there will be a default value 10 and 20. So now we will see our next type. First one is default constructor. So now we will learn about parameterized constructor. A constructor which have a specific number of parameters is called parameterized constructor. So in which we can pass parameters is known as parameterized constructor. Why we use parameterized constructor? Parameterized constructor is used to provide different values to distinct objects. However, you can provide same values also. So if we creating like three objects, different objects, and we want to pass different values to the three different objects, so we can use parameterized constructor because in default constructor, three objects will have same values. We can also provide same values in parameterized constructor, but we can also provide different values. That is not possible in default constructor. So now we will see how we can create parameterized constructor. So here we have an example. Firstly, we create a class student. It have three field ID of integer type, name of string type, age for integer type. So then we create a constructor. So there will be not 5. It is written by mistake. So kindly ignore it. So class name and constructor name must be same. So it will be student. And then we pass here only two parameters like int I and string n. Means I for ID and n for name. Two parameterize. So I will assign to ID. Means value passed by user will be assigned to ID. So value of I assigned to ID. ID equals to I. And similarly n assigned to the name. So we create another parameterized constructor like student. Sorry, by mistake it was example of a constructor overloading. So firstly we will see example of parameterized constructor. That was the example of constructor overloading. So firstly we will see example of parameterized constructor. So here we have a class student and we are creating constructor student, class name student. Then here we have two parameters. We can say, sorry, two fields. ID of integer type, name of string type. So we creating parameterized constructor, so we can pass parameter. So here we're passing two parameter, one for integer type and second of string type. So value of I is assigned to ID and n is assigned to the name. So value is assigned. And then we define a function, display function, and its return type is void. There is no parameters passed to this function. So in body of this function we just display value of ID and name. And then there is a main method, because we can create our objects in only main method. So main method, firstly we create one object, S1, student is our class name, S1 new student. And here we passing value 101 11 Karan. So when this program will be executed, control will come at main method. Then it will enter in the class curly braces. So firstly this line will be executed. So now controller create this object S1. So it is passing two parameters like int and string. So it will goes to the constructor. So now obj our object name is S1 and object having value ID equals to 111 and Karan name is Karan. So after completion means this is our end of constructor body. So after this will be executed, and after this our control will goes to the next line, that is student S2. So now again an object is created like S2, and when object creation is executed, it will automatically goes to the constructor, suitable constructor. So this is our suitable constructor. So now it pass value 202 and name is Aryan. So our ID become So our ID become 202 because now we are passing 202 value, 22 value, and name we are passing Aryan. So S2 is pointing to the this object. So next we call display method. Object one is called display method. So that's why this object will work. So now display ID and name. So this ID and name will be displayed on the screen. So after completion of function, control will come at next line, that is S2 display. So this time this object will be execute this function, display from function. So ID and name of this object will be displayed on the screen. So in parameterized constructor, we can pass value when we create objects. So there different objects can have different values. This is all about parameterized constructor. So in short, we can say to set default values for all objects, we can use default constructor. So if we want to pass different values to the different objects, then we can use parameterized constructor. But another thing we can note in this program, we just write one constructor in every program. In default constructor, we also write one constructor, and in parameterized constructor, we also create only one constructor. So if we want to use more than one constructor, and as we know, name will be same because we can create our constructor only same as class name. So if we create more than one constructors, then their name will be same. So now we will see about it. And this problem is known as constructor overloading. So in Java, a constructor is just like a method, but without return type. It can be overloaded like Java methods. Constructor overloading in Java is technique of having more than one constructor with a different parameter list. So in our program, there can be multiple constructors. More than one constructor can be there, but there will be difference between parameters. So constructor can be differentiated by compiler by 2 points. One is number of parameters. For example, we create a constructor, initialize one parameter, one field value in which we will pass one parameter. Another constructor in which we are passing two parameters. So it can be differentiated by number of parameters and their types also. For example, we create two constructors. Both are having one parameter, but one is using integer type and another is using float type. So it is also differentiated by data type. So this point is very important. Compiler differentiate constructors by number of parameters and their data types. So it will check number of parameters and their data types. According to that, they will differentiate, means which constructor will be called. So they are arranged in a way each constructor perform a different task, because there is no use to create constructors that perform same task. This is just a wastage of time, we can say, and coding headache. So now we will see example about constructor overloading for better understanding. So we will continue our same example we see in parameterized constructor, but there is only one change, that there is more than one constructor. So firstly, correct is our class name like student 5, because it is missed. So here our class name is student 5, in which we have 3 field: ID of integer type, name of string type, age of integer type. So here we are creating 2 constructors. You can 3 constructors as per your requirement. You can create. So firstly, we create a constructor having name student5, same as our class name, but here we are passing only two meters, and these values are assigned to our field. I assigned to ID and N assigned to the name. Then we create another constructor, but it have value 3, number of parameters. So I is assigned to ID, N is assigned to name, and A is assigned to the age. Then a method to display these values, ID, name, and age. So in our main method, firstly, we create a object S1 having value, we just passing two values. So when object will be created, compiler have to call constructor. So now compiler is confused with which constructor will be invoked, first one or second one. So it can count parameter. So here we are passing two parameters. So for two parameters, this constructor will be called. So after execution, this statement control goes to this constructor. So now ID become 111 and name become N, Karn, but age is not passed. So it will choose a default value, and by default value of integer type is 0. Then we use second line string student S2, and here we are passing 3 parameters. So now again control is confused, but by counting parameter it invoke this constructor. So now 3 values, like first value 222 assigned to ID, name is Aryan, and age is 25. So now we call S1 display, means object 1 invoke this method. So in this ID and name age will be printed, and object S1 containing value 111 for ID, Karan for name, but there is no value for age. So that's why default value 0 is printed on the screen. And similarly, next S2 dot display. So now object 2 will use display method, means ID, name, and age of object 2 will be displayed on the screen. So ID of the S2 is 222, name is Aryan, age is 25. So this is displayed on the screen. You can also add here 0 parameter constructor, default constructor we can say. We can use as per our requirement. So there can be more than one constructors. So this is all about constructors, their types, and constructor overloading. So we can use more than one constructors as per our requirement, but only one thing we must keep in our mind, that number of parameters can be different. And if number of parameters is same, then data type can must be different. So compiler can execute suitable constructor based on number of parameters and their types. So now our next topic is difference between method and constructor. So now difference between method and constructors. The first one, method is used to expose behavior of an object. So as we know, a method provide behavior, but constructor, we use constructor to initialize values, initialize states, initialize variables of an object. So in method there must be a return type. Although method is not returning anything, then we have to write void return type. So method must have return type, but a constructor must not have a return type. If we write any return type with the constructor, it will generate an error. So constructor is invoked implicitly, means we are not writing any syntax to call our constructor. But if we want to invoke any method, we will write any command like object dot method name. So method is invoked explicitly, means we have to write some code, but a constructor is invoked automatically. And if we are not writing any constructor, because till now we do some practical and we are not writing any constructor, so in that case compiler create automatically default constructor. But in case of method, compiler not provided if we skipped any method. Constructor name must be same as class name. So our constructor name must be same as class name. We cannot use another name. But in case of method, it may be or may not be same as class name. So we can use our class name as method and we cannot. It depends upon our requirement. There is no compulsion. But in case of constructor, we have to use same name. This is all about our today lecture. We learn about access specifiers, pass by value, in which we study about primitive type and reference type. Then constructor, their types, constructor overloading. So this is all about today class.